Hi, everyone, and welcome to Monday Night Live. I'm Laura Hopkins, and tonight we are going to be doing another installment of the Ultimate Balance Book Club. This is a fantastic book. It's out of print, but we've been going through this book through this year and 2026, and it's been fantastic so far. We did it a few years ago, and we thought this would be a good time to go ahead and do this one again. But tonight, our topic is about the pituitary gland. The pituitary gland is part of a three-prong triple warmer, is what it's called when it comes to balancing in the body and achieving overall balance. And the others are your adrenal glands and your thyroid. And so usually what you want to do, and we're going in order of when we would focus on and give attention to and cleanse these different parts of our body, but the different organs and glands. But we are starting with the pituitary as part of the triple warmer. And as we're talking about it tonight, I have gone through other books as kind of is my practice to go through and find other things that we can kind of supplement and add to our learning from this book. So let's talk a little bit about what the pituitary gland is. I'm going to go back to I'm going to read directly from the desk reference here as well to give you an overview of it. Talks a little bit more about the endocrine system itself. So the endocrine system encompasses the hormone-producing glands of the body. These glands cluster around blood vessels and release their hormones directly into the bloodstream. The pituitary gland excretes a wide range of control over the hormonal or endocrine system, and is often called the master gland. Other glands include the pancreas, adrenals, thyroid, parathyroid, ovaries, and testes. The limbic system lies along the margin of the cerebral cortex, the brain, and is the hormone-producing system of the brain. It includes the amygdala, the hippocampus, the pineal, pituitary, thalamus, and hypothalamus. So as you can see, the pituitary has a pretty big job. It's also the smallest of those. It's a very, very small gland, but it has a lot of power. It's about a pea size. Essential oils can increase circulation to the brain. This enables the pituitary and other glands to secrete neurotransmitters and hormones that support the endocrine and immune systems. It goes on to talk a little about the thyroid, which we'll talk about next. The thyroid is one of the most important glands for regulating the body's systems. The hypothalamus plays an even more important role since it is not only regulates the thyroid, but the adrenals and pituitary gland itself. So as you can see, they work all together. The pituitary is called the master gland, but the hypothalamus is regulating for the thyroid, the adrenals, and pituitary. So the hypothalamus has an active role. So as we go through and study and we hear different terms and glands, you're going to want to remember how they work together. And a lot of times you're going to see essential oils and products that overlap in the way that they are helpful for that specific gland. And the pituitary is there's no difference in that. So I'm going to talk a little bit more about from what's in the book, and then I'm going to go back to my desk reference to talk about the specific additional oils, and additional information that has been put together. So, all right, so get your book out. We are on page 38. As you can see, the location is right between the eyes, back in here. It is located, as you read, it talks about pituitary gland rests in a small bony box-like structure called the sella turcica. That's Latin, and it actually means Turkish saddle. So it's protected. The sella turcica is actually a protection, a bony structure box around your pituitary to protect it. And it's covered by a fold in the okay, where am I reading here? It's covered by a fold in the dura, or the meninges of the brain. The sella turcica is situated in the sphenoid bone and is right behind the eyes. So as you can see there, that's where it's located, right in there, behind the eyes. and it's very small, pea-sized right there. Okay. The hypothalamus, as we know earlier, secretes factors into the pituitary gland, which in turn secretes hormones directed to the thyroid and other glands of the body. The pituitary hormones help control some of the following body processes: growth, blood pressure, some aspects of pregnancy and childbirth, including stimulation of the uterine contractions during childbirth, breast milk production, sex organ functions in both men and women, thyroid gland function and the conversion of food into energy and metabolism, as well as water and osmolality regulation in the body. So it does a lot for such a small little gland, but that's why it's called the master gland. It's connected at the bottom of the hypothalamus, at the base of the brain in by the pituitary stalk. So there's different portions. So you can study that a little bit more. It's interesting because I've heard, especially when Young Living came out with Progestins Plus, there was a lot of talk about what it does for the pituitary and how it helps the pituitary, and how in the modern world, we have a lot more pituitary damage that's contributing to other factors with growth hormones, with sexual function, and some of these other issues that we have here. Following conditions may indicate a problem with the pituitary gland. And I've read articles that talks about everything from women driving cars to being more involved in sports, cheerleading particularly, where they're throwing, gymnastics where people are throwing, or just in general, people looking for adrenaline seekers that can damage pituitary. So here's some conditions or some factors that could contribute to pituitary gland issues. So either over 6 feet 6 inches tall, so very tall, or very short and below 4'10". So when you're at your mature height, so at adulthood. Early sexual development before age 10 or delayed after age 13. Increased or decreased libido. Splitting headaches behind your eyes, which commonly that's where we're going to find our pituitary. Also, memory fading, impotence, infertility, decrease in breast size, or decrease in testes. That would be for the females or the males. Abnormal thirst, menstrual disorders, and lack of menstruation in females. So if you look on the second page, you're going to look and see some of the details about, I just read you this list here, but what we're going to see now are the details of how to start working on becoming balanced and working on it. So it is the third eye chakra, and the time of day to work on the time of the year is early summer. So we're not in early summer right now in May of 2026, but we are preparing, because when early summer comes, then we'll be able to start working on it right away. So we have the time of day, 9 p.m. to 11 p.m. So that would be evening time, as you're kind of starting to wind down and then beginning sleep, getting that good sleep cycle. The triple warmer meridian is what you're going to work on. It begins on the end of the ring finger, which is your right ring. I'm sorry, your end of the ring. This is ring finger, but it's showing the right finger. So I've always known the ring finger to be the left hand, but this is showing the right. But either way, if you do it left or right, you use the finger next to the pinky. So that would be your ring finger. And then you go up the back, the arm and shoulder, and across the front of the collarbone, and then around the neck and up the side of the throat, the neck, side of the neck, and then all around the ear. So you start, you would work from the finger going all the way around, up, behind, up your shoulder, up behind your ear, and the stopping point would be right about here. And that is going to be the neurovascular point is on the right side. So if you're doing it on the right side, again, ring finger all the way around, up, and stopping here. So you can do your Vitaflex with your oils specifically. We'll go through those here in a minute. Or if you'd like, their Vitaflex point is on your big toes. So both big toes. So you can just Vitaflex your big toes for the pituitary. There are the opposite glands are your spleen and your pancreas. And then the color is indigo and the musical note is A. The negative emotions that could be associated with pituitary are stuck in a box, inability to speak up for yourself, too much or out of control, humiliation. The positive emotions would be moving forward, self-worth, and being in control. Not in a I'm in control of everything. It's more of a submission to be in control of myself, self-control. Because we want God to be in control of our path. And the affirmations would be, I speak my truth. I stand up for myself. I am proud of who I am. I see life in new ways. The oil blends, and I love, love, love this oil blend. I actually put it in my loyalty order for last month because I didn't realize I was out. And it was one that I used to use a lot with my, when my daughter was a teenager, and I've got a preteen now. And so I need more of it. It's called Endoflex. And that if you see the word endo, that's going to give you a kind of a little bit of a hint as to what it does. Endoflex, endocrine system. The other one of my absolute favorite blends ever, is Transformation. Both of these oils, Endoflex and Transformation, have spearmint in them. And I don't know what it is about spearmint in a blend that just kind of makes it, I don't know, it smells, it's fantastic. And my oldest child loved Endoflex because she loves spearmint. Transformation also, it has the peppermint in it. Valor, envision, inspiration, surrender, and awaken. So those are, think about those words of how those words could even be part of your aspiration, your affirmations. The single oils are going to be lemongrass, myrtle, frankincense, and lavender. And then products are Thyromin, and it says here Ultra Young Spray, which is not a product that we have anymore, but there's other things that you could use instead. And Ningxia Red would be one of the ones that we're always looking for, supporting the master antioxidants that are in Ningxia Red to support your master gland would be a great starting point, as well as I believe longevity would be a fantastic supplement as well because of what it does. It has frankincense, clove, thyme, and orange. So that's a great one. And you can get those as in pre-made capsules, or I take capsules of longevity. I just put it in veggie caps. So, and you can test it out, start with 3 to 4 drops at first, and then, move on from there. If you're used to taking oils in capsules, then you understand you can kind of see what your body needs. So you can muscle test for it and see what you want. All right, well, I'm going to go through some of things that I found in the Essential Oil Desk Reference, which as you can see, this is one of my very well-loved books. And I want to take you through some information. That's why I read from first, talking more about the endocrine system. Single oils that are mentioned here that are supportive would be fleabane. And I heard Canadian fleabane is an oil we didn't have ever offered as a single for the longest time. And I would see it in other blends and wondered what it was for. And I remember talking with Mary Young at an event, I don't even remember what it was, years ago. And I was talking to her about Canadian fleabane. And she said, and I said, oh, it was great that we were able to get that. I'd never experienced it as a single oil before, only in blends. And I said, I loved having that and want to learn, how I can use it. And she said she would give it to her boys, specifically Joseph, her younger son, when he had growing pains. I thought, wow, that's a really cool little trick there. So she said she would, that was one that he used a lot for growing pains. Helichrysum. So we know what helichrysum does. It's very, what the plant does in nature is you cut it and then it regrows. So regenerative. So if you think about that, think about what regenerative would do for you, how it would work in your body. Lemon verbena, nutmeg, clove, rosemary, spearmint, and spruce. So did you see what we have? Some of those single oils. I mentioned spearmint earlier. I mentioned clove earlier. Mentioned if I didn't mention frankincense, but that would be a good one. And then that's what we have in Endoflex. That's what we have in longevity, right? Energy is another blend. Humility, Lady Sclerol, and Sclerescence. And I think it's interesting that humility is mentioned here because for the endocrine system, as you think about the things specifically about what we're talking about when it comes to self-worth, believing, in yourself, but in a humble way. Like sometimes people who have low self-confidence, it's almost a prideful that they think better of them. Like God is your creator. So you're made in God's image and God says who you are. And so when we are not submitted to the idea that we are who God says we are, that's pride. Humility is what we need because we're exalting ourselves above God whenever we're saying that he's not right about what he says about us. So see what I did there? Yeah, exactly. Then you can do these oils, of course, there's inhalation, there's topical application, there's ingestion, and Thyromin is another supplement that's mentioned here. Of course, we have, since this book has been produced, we have Progestins Plus, which is fantastic for females, for the endocrine system specifically. We also have some Endogize, we have Femigen. So there's products that, depending on what you need to support your endocrine system, to support your glandular system, to support your sex hormones, all of those things are there. So that's where you would need to do some muscle testing with the products you have, or using your using an iTovi or other type of a scanner. You can help have someone scan you and see where do I start? Where do I need to go from here? So those are all options. I would also say that let's come back here and start looking at some of these other things that are mentioned. When it comes to stimulating the pineal and pituitary gland, that here's some that are mentioned: sandalwood, vetiver, cedarwood, lavender, and frankincense, or blends like Dreamcatcher, forgiveness, gathering, harmony, humility. There it is again. Three wise men and Emu power. These blends contain frankincense and sandalwood, which help oxygenate the pituitary and pineal glands, and this thus improving attitude and frequency balance. Good stuff right there. All right. Also, think back up the bus here before we go to that one. I want to read two specific blends that I found that talked about the pituitary gland. One that I hadn't mentioned yet is brain power. So brain power has frankincense, sandalwood, melissa, cedarwood, blue cypress, lavender, and helichrysum. Not a bad combination. It promotes deep concentration and channels physical energy into mental energy. It also increases mental potential and clarity, and long-term use may retard the aging process. Many of the oils in this blend are high in sesquiterpene compounds that increase activity in the pineal, pituitary, and hypothalamus glands, and thereby increase output of growth hormone and melatonin. We need melatonin for sleep and rest, what our body needs to recover from each day. The oils also help dissolve petrochemicals that plug the receptor sites, clearing the brain fog that people experience due to exposure to synthetic petrochemicals in food, skin, and hair products and air. Wow. So I won't go into detail reading all of these individual things that all the oils do, because you guys know those. But I do want to read one more, and that's gathering. There's another blend that specifically mentioned pituitary. It contains galbanum. That's one of the oils from the oils of ancient scripture. Frankincense, sandalwood, two more oils of ancient scripture. Rose, one of the highest frequency oils that we have. Lavender, Cinnamon bark, again, cinnamon bark is in the family of cassia, another ancient oil. Spruce, a tree oil. Lang Lang, and geranium. It says gathering was created to help us overcome the bombardment of chaotic energy that alters our focus and takes us off the path toward higher achievements. Galbanum, a favorite oil of Moses, has a strong effect when blended with frankincense and sandalwood in gathering our emotional and spiritual thoughts, helping us to achieve our potential. These oils help increase the oxygen around the pineal and pituitary gland, bringing greater harmonic frequency to receive the communication we desire. This blend helps bring people together on a physical, emotional, and spiritual level for greater focus and clarity. It helps us stay focused, grounded, and clear in gathering one's potential for self-improvement. So gathering is a fantastic, we usually think of gathering as like bringing others together with you, but it's really gathering yourself. One of the things that we say when we put on the armor of God with my daughter in the morning, we put on the go shoes, which are the gospel of preparation of peace. I will walk in peace with everyone I see today. I walk in peace with myself. Sometimes we're at odds with ourselves, and we have to anoint ourselves and pray and speak over ourselves that we are in one mind, in the mind of Christ, right? So gather all of those things that could be separate, that would cause division in your own mind. We know that we don't want to have a divided thoughts, that we don't want to have a divided mind and divided house, right? We are the house, the temple of the Holy Spirit. We want no divided house. We are a solid, one house, celerity of mind in Jesus Christ, right? So those are all starting points for you guys. I also want to mention something where pituitary was mentioned, just talking about food and nutrition. And this is each week I've talked about nutrition and things that you can do to support the pituitary glands, or each gland. Usually when it comes to the brain, we look at food that's good fats that are all good, that are fantastic for the brain, but you also can sometimes see food in nature that looks like the body part. So walnuts are great for the brain. A lot of people don't want to eat walnuts by themselves, but they can you can chop them finely. You can put them in smoothies. They can be added to other things. Put them in breakfast. I put them in pancakes. There are all kinds of things you can do with them. So, but this week I want to talk a little bit about fasting, because the book brought me to this when we're considering fasting, and it could be intermittent fasting or just a longer term. Some people do cleanses this time of year because of as to really give your liver, your gallbladder a break in the spring, and then getting your body prepared for rebuilding in the summer. So fasting has been called nature's single greatest healing therapy. Fasting is the avoidance of solid food with liquid intake varying from no liquids to just water to fresh juices. A fast can last 24 hours or several weeks. Fasting has long been a tradition in Judaism, Christianity, and Eastern religions. Religious fasting can involve purification, penance, or preparation for approaching God. An increasing number of doctors are recognizing that fasting can be physically healing while allowing us to focus our energy toward bringing clarity and change. Gabriel Cousens, MD, writes that, quote, fasting in a larger context means to abstain from which is toxic to mind, body, and soul. A way to understand this is that fasting is the elimination of physical emotions and mental toxins from our organs rather than simply cutting down or stopping food intake. Fasting for spiritual purposes usually involves some degree of removal of oneself from worldly responsibilities. It can mean complete silence and isolation during the fast, which can be a great revival to those of us who are learning, who have been putting our energy outward. Fasting is generally safe, but those with medical conditions should check with their healthcare professional. Elson Haas, MD, notes that fasting is a catalyst for change and an integral part of transformation medicine. He writes, quote, fasting clearly improves motivation and creative energy. It also enhances health and vitality and lets many of the body's systems rest, end quote. An extremely important benefit of fasting is the elimination of toxins. By minimizing the work our digestive system must do, we allow it to repair itself and to clean up stored toxins. In the beginning of a fast, the liver will convert stored glycogen to energy. As the fast continues, some proteins will be broken down unless juices provide calories. The best way to convert to vegetarianism is by fasting. To be healthy, have energy, be free of sickness and disease, you have to learn to discipline yourself and listen to the needs of your body. Our bodies do not need animal protein always to maintain good health, even though many of us have been programmed through years of meat consumption to have the desire to eat meat. Our bodies can get all the protein required from a diet containing a wide variety of non-meat foods, beans, lentils, vegetables, whole grain seeds, some cheeses, dairy products, preferably unpasteurized and naturally colored, and occasionally eggs. However, you must be sure to eat enough protein to maintain a balanced, healthy body. Exercise makes fasting work better, particularly if someone is trying to lose weight. Pregnant or lactating mothers should seek medical supervision before beginning a fast. Now, I will go on to this next page when we talk about it. There was a this is in regard to fasting and the pituitary. Restricted calorie intake, such as fasting, can have powerful effects on longevity because it increases blood levels of growth hormone, which is one of the most significant anti-aging hormones to be identified during the last 2 decades. Secreted by the pituitary gland, the growth hormone production steadily declines with age. By 70, the human body produces less than 1/10 of the growth hormone it did at age 20. Clinical studies have repeatedly shown that growth hormone production is stimulated by low glucose levels. Because fasting depresses glucose levels, it leads to a surge of natural growth hormone production. And there's a study here cited. Other studies have shown that the practice of caloric restriction, providing all necessary nutrients but limiting calorie intake, results in increased longevity and postponement of disease. Clive McKay of Cornell University showed that rats fed a diet low in calories but high in vitamins, minerals, and nutrients lived up to twice as long as rats on regular diets. Then at the University of California, they found that studies in mice, the greater reduction of calories, the longer the animal lived, as long as the vitamin and mineral content remained constant and the calories consumed did not dip below 40% of the normal. So just something to consider. This is a time of year where it's warmer outside, we're moving, this was all part of what was called the longevity anti-aging therapies. And then also there is a section up here. Where was the section? It was like fasting for your blood type. There's a section for fasting for your blood type. I don't see it now. But fasting could be something that you could do. Just try for 24 hours. A lot of times what you could do is you can do a 24-hour fast. You can do, try just doing skipping one meal and see how you do. If you're not used to fasting at all, that's a good starting point. Skipping one meal, then looking at skipping 2 meals a day and just eating once a day. I personally think it's very effective to break fast. That's where we get our word breakfast from. You can, if you start at night and then don't eat in the morning and then go through the next day, that's, you're going more than a 24-hour period. But by breaking your fast in the morning, you have the rest of the day to use those calories. And so you're not going to bed heavy. So, eating at night and then not eating overnight and coming back the next morning, that 24-hour fast. You also want to be careful how you break your fast. You want to make sure that you're doing it slowly. And I have some, I can look up the information I have on how to break fast. But there are some, I got those from Mindy Pelz, Dr. Mindy Pelz, and she wrote the book Fast Like a Girl, and Age Like a Girl is her new book that's out. And I've really learned a lot from listening to her podcasts and reading her books. So those are options. I went ahead and got a glucose monitor. And so we'll take my blood sugar, and also measures your ketones. And ketones are what can signal, your blood sugar could be low, but if your ketone levels aren't increasing, that signals the liver issues. And so again, detoxifying the liver. I cannot wait for the liver tone and detoxification, that detoxification duo to come back in stock. I love using that, but you can use your Juva products in the meantime if you don't have your liver tone or your the detox information. So I really feel that working on my liver, using castor oil packs, all those types of things has been very instrumental for me going through perimenopause. And I feel like it has made a big difference in as I'm monitoring myself, keeping track of what's going on. That's made a big difference. And then doing the fasting in a very healthy way, not just going without food and then coming back and then purging, eating what I just being so hungry that I eat, but coming back with I have been juicing celery in the morning. Many of you may have heard of I think it's called the Miracle Medium. I can't remember. Shauna, you may remember because those are books that Karen bought. But those, the medical medium, is that what she called? There you go, the medical medium. The celery juice in the morning. So I will get up when get up to go work out. I will have some water with fresh squeezed lemon in it. You can have lemon juice before that, or you just start your day with celery juice. And that celery is supposed to help refresh and help target your liver. And then you can eat things throughout the day that are very, a lot of times with the liver refresh, you want to have, you don't want a lot of animal proteins because it's harder for, using a lot of energy to digest those, where the liver needs to do easier things. And there's a whole book, the medical medium has a whole book on with recipes and how to do that. Okay. I'm going to look at the comments you guys have here. It looks like there's some talking going on. Yes, Endoflex is fantastic. I don't want to run out of it either, Tammy. Yes. Fleabane for growing pains. There you go. So now you know what to use with your girl. If I eat before bed, I find I'm so hungry the next morning. The device that I have is called a Keto Mojo, and it has an app that goes with it, so I can keep track of my numbers that way. And then celery juice first thing in the morning, wait 20 minutes and then drink water. Yeah. So so those are starting points for helping with the liver, which in fact, that's what we're cleansing now in the spring. We're getting ready to step into the pituitary. But I wanted to give you some heads up because the other thing you can do with cleansing, if you've never done a cleanse before, you want to start with the cleansing trio from Young Living and getting that. It has your comfort tone, which is going to help with helping to kind of scrub the colon and remove. It has a diatomaceous clay in it, so it's going to move things through and get things going. Not just a tunnel. Your colon is not a tunnel. It actually should be having the peristalsis motion. So you should feel it moving and contracting to move your waste through. And so that's one thing it has. It has enzymes. So you're taking the comfortone, you're taking the enzymes, and then you're taking the prebiotic fiber. So your gut needs probiotics. Most people have heard of those, but we also need prebiotics, which the prebiotics are what the probiotics feed on in your gut to create good, healthy bacteria. And so having a healthy gut is the most important place to start before you do any kind of cleansing, any kind of fasting, making sure, because we don't want any of our pathways for elimination to be blocked whenever you start to go through these pathways. So, okay. Oh, she says you can juice the celery, freeze it, and get ahead of the game. Oh, that's a good idea. I did a whole bunch of celery this morning and made my husband drink some. I didn't make him. I said, "Do you want some?" And he said, "Yes." So did that. But freezing. It's a great idea because you can have it ready to go. Very smart. Okay. And then also, doing things that are alkalining to the body, of course, and being gentle with the body. So alkaline Drinking your Ningxia Red. Ningxia Red, I love, love, love Ningxia Red, but you also have to, from a glucose standpoint, if it does spike your blood sugar, some people, it will do that just the way that your body's metabolizing or not metabolizing it. You might need to take it not first thing in the morning, or take it first thing in the morning and not drink it after midday. I never like to tell people not to have Ningxia Red, but I know that in some situations when you're cleansing and you drinking water, getting alkaline, then there are natural sugars in Ningxia Red. And so that can, if you're really struggling with your blood sugar, which it's funny because most people that I know who drink Ningxia Red it doesn't spike their blood sugar. It's just very normalizing. So, and I think the essential oils in it as well are very, they're helping to counteract as well. Okay. Thank you, Shauna, for all that information. I appreciate it. Okay. Well, if there are no more questions, next week is going to be Sarah. It's going to be coming to us. And then, as I mentioned earlier, the next week after that will be the Ultimate Balance Book Club for the thyroid. So we will wrap up our triple warmer. We'll wrap up learning about triple warmer. And then the last week of this month, since the first week of the month, is going to be Gather. And I'm going to talk about getting outside. We're going to do some DIY projects with our sunscreen, the Young Living sunscreen, and making it a little bit more easy to apply, as well as the insect repellent. I also have some electrolyte drinks, so replacements for all of those store-bought sugary drinks, some things that are great for summer. I have some recipes that we're going to make for, getting ready for the big 250th happy birthday celebration, America. And so just a lot of fun things getting you ready for summer. So that'll be the Gather. That'll be videos that I'll get up on the website, on the 7 Oily Days YouTube channel, and you can get people into your home. So we will not meet that fourth Monday. That is Memorial Day Monday, the 25th. But any day you want to that week, you can have those videos ready to go. And even if it's June, when you get people into your home, then you can do that and have them over and share with them how to do some DIYs for summer. And then what's great is the week after that, we're going to be in Arlington at the Young Living Convention. So that's super exciting. It's hard to believe it's almost here, convention time. But the Young Living is doing the Awaken Tour. If you don't already have your tickets, Young Living is going to be in Arlington, Texas, Anaheim, California, Indianapolis, Indiana, and then Orlando, Florida in the US. They're also going to be in Toronto and Mexico City later this year. So I can't wait to see you guys there. I am going to be in Anaheim. I'm sorry, I'm going to be in Arlington and I'm going to be in Orlando right now. I had to adjust some of it because I was going to try to go to all of them, but my husband's, I couldn't do it with childcare this summer. So it's pretty cool. All right, Shauna said, this is the travel juicer I take with me wherever I go. How cool is that? Travel juicer. Love it. Very handy. Does it clean easily? Because I have a big old honking juicer. Yes. Oh, cool. I love that. I have a big old juicer and I get it out and it is an ordeal. So I like fresh juice, but it also is like, oh, cleaning it. Um, so, yeah. Okay. Yeah. I'd love to see it. Yes, Tammy, it doesn't look like I'm gonna be able to come to Indianapolis. Jonathan has a camp that week. And so I have a ticket. Give me a call, girl. If you plan to go, I believe Joy is still going. So I know there are going to be people there, but I am not going to be able to go this time, unfortunately. So at least as of right now, something changes. I was planning to drive to that one. So I guess if something changed, I could go at the last minute. But as of right now, I cannot make it. So, all right. If there's nothing else tonight, guys, I am so glad that we had this time together and we'll see you. I'll be back in 2 weeks to talk about the thyroid. And next week, you can use the link from if you need to get the link for Sarah's call, that'll be in your reminder text next week. All right. Have a great evening. I'll talk to you later. Good night.